It's tricky, and I'm not suggesting anything that I shouldn't suggest, but I'm alarmed by this because to me, if you have any kind of problems, and even if it was just an honest mistake, you want to make sure that you shore this stuff up, right? You want to shore it up before you go into November 2024. It's really incredibly important. The Georgia Election Board, the oversight panel, came out last week and they reprimanded none other than Fulton County. What's going on in Fulton County? What's up in Fulton County? You know, between Fannie and Nathan and now the election board having to come down on Fulton County because it seems that they double counted some 3,000 votes. I mean, this is pretty wild stuff. And so the answer was, either Fulton County paid this huge fine, they discovered this on the recount, or they dealt with some oversight coming in. So that's the upshot, basically. So there was some double counting of 3,075 ballots. There were other allegations of irregularities. This is according to the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, as well as other papers there in the area. The Georgia Recorder, for example, again, not a lot of wide reporting on this. This is sort of, we're in the no-go zone, I guess. But what Georgia election officials determined was that there were some mistakes that were made by election workers in the county that would not have changed the outcome, but certainly undermine confidence, right? You never want to undermine confidence. Joe Biden narrowly defeated Donald Trump by roughly 12,000 votes. So would 3,000 have mattered? No, but you understand that people are saying, oh, well, if there are 3,000 there, maybe there's, and we're not going to necessarily go there. But what I am going to tell you is this: you want to make sure that you have some belief and trust in the system. And so what they're trying to get to the bottom of right now is just exactly how this all went down. Okay, let's go with honest mistake. Let's make sure that there are no more honest mistakes in the future. I want to take you to the testimony there of some of the investigators as they were testifying before this election official board that was using their oversight to kind of just determine what in fact went down. We have a couple of sound bites. Let's start with one of the first ones here. Jude, let's cue this up so people can see what went down. The story that didn't get reported until
there's three counts and there's three different numbers, and I would think that the third count, the machine count 2, which is the third count, coming right off of the hand count that took those very same ballots and ran them through the big ICC fast scanners, should have come up with the same number. And it did not come up with the same number. So the counts don't agree. 1, 2, and 3, they don't agree. For the investigator, do you agree that every vote should have a ballot image?
At this point in time, no, it wasn't required.
I didn't ask if it was required. Do you agree that it should have a ballot image?
Again, the ballot images should be recorded. But again, the vote is captured in that paper ballot. The ballot image is not the vote. It is merely an electronic picture of the ballot so that we can go back and people can review them. And so it's part of the paper trail that we use to confirm the accuracy of the results. So yes, right now, ballot images are required to be uploaded and preserved so that they can be produced in response to a public record. So we would expect there should be ballot images for every ballot. But again, in 2020, this was brand new equipment that counties were getting used to using. They weren't necessarily always doing things correctly. Some of the ballot images were not necessarily preserved, but again, the purpose of this investigation was to determine whether or not a violation of the election code occurred, and we have presented our findings.
Great. That still doesn't answer the question. Should every vote have a ballot image?
So you're seeing and hearing some applause there in the back of the room. The panel commissioner, they're asking a pretty important question, but nonetheless, the investigators couldn't really answer it, right? Maybe that was out of their scope. It's more of an opinion thing. Do you think that there should be a receipt, so to speak, a ballot image that matches the vote? And I think we've all kind of decided that it would be a good idea to do that, right? Like, it's kind of a good idea because you want that proof should you need to go back and actually investigate it. And you might need to go back and investigate it. I'm going to show you why in a second. But before we do, some more sound coming to us there from Fulton County, Georgia, where the Georgia Oversight Panel, that state committee, was really pushing these investigators hard on a lot of different issues. Let's listen in.
Yes. Do you know why 380,761 ballot images from Election Day machine count are not available?
We subpoenaed Fulton County for all of their ballot images. We received approximately 518,000 ballot images.
From Election Day?
Those were for the recount.
Those are from the recount, but we have no ballot images for 380,761 ballots from Election Day, correct?
What was subpoenaed was the ballot images for the recount, because that's what this case was about, not the election day.
Does Fulton County know why there are not 380,761 ballot images from Election Day?
As with the investigators, we have not been apprised of this allegation. This is the first I'm hearing about it. I have no idea what the basis of that allegation is, and so we would have to we can't answer that at this time.
Would Fulton County agree that every vote should have a ballot image?
So, they can't answer that question, but it kind of seems like it just should, right? Like you should be able to match it all up. But who am I to say this? I'm actually somebody who thinks you ought to present your license when you go to vote, right? Because what if you get to vote and they're going through and they look at the rolls and then they find your name and they say, oh no, you've already voted. What do you do? Fortunately, I don't know as it happens that often, but I always bring my ID with me. I lived in New York for so long and I was always amazed. I'd always bring my ID because I thought, what if that happens? Like, how am I going to prove? No. This is me. Is that too much to ask that you have some ID and maybe there's a receipt somewhere in the computer system or a paper ballot version of what you did? Because I have a feeling that 2024 could get ugly. 2020 got really ugly, but this goes both ways, ladies and gentlemen. It's not like one side. They want you to believe that Donald Trump was undermining democracy, and how dare he ask for any recount anywhere, or maybe come up with another set of jurors, or electors, rather, that could possibly decide things, even though, by the way, they did do that in the 60s with JFK out in Hawaii.